Hello, my name is Jane Becker, and I'm contacting you from this live video feed regarding real estate. Today's topic is selling homes, and I would like to share you the philosophy that we have at Home Team AdvantEdge. A lot of times, consumers feel that when they're selling a property, they just need to find a buyer. That's it. That's all that they need to do. Unfortunately, that is not the exact way of doing it, and a lot of times transactions fall apart at some point because of that understanding, or I should say, misunderstanding. The best way to look at the process of selling a home is to understand that the house needs to be sold 4 times. 4 times? Well, that sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? So, yes, the first way to sell it is to a buyer. And the way to sell it to a buyer is through good quality photographs, really well described property, and some kind of an emotional attachment in the description of the home. So instead of saying 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 4-car garage, you want to find what will the next homeowner need and want out of your home. It is describing the benefits, not the features of the home. So those I just listed are features. It features a dining room. It features large spaces. But the benefit has to do with what the buyer really wants. For example, space to entertain, feel good about the home ownership, have enough space for a large family. Whatever it is, it needs to appeal to a buyer on an emotional level and justified with reason. So that is one of the things that we do at Home Team AdvantEdge, create marketing that would fulfill that emotional buyer need. We also want to make sure that you have as many photos as allowed on the multiple listing service and on the websites, and statistical information like the size of the rooms and things like that. The second way to sell your home is through buyer agents. Most of the buyers right now are looking for homes with a professional agent. Those agents, when they look at property, they look at how much they're going to get compensated for their work. Most agents take what is offered to them in the multiple listing service. And if you are competing with other properties, you want to be one of the best possible paying consumers for those buyer agents. So, buyer agents would recommend your home over a competing property that potentially does not offer as much compensation to that agent. So, that is the way we want to attract other real estate agents to your home. Number 3 is a home inspector. A home inspector needs to be sold to just as much as anybody else. See, when the buyer comes along, looks at your property, and falls in love with it, the buyer is going to give you an offer. And then home inspectors come in and basically do their job. And their job is to point out anything and everything that could potentially be wrong with the house. There are 2 ways to negate the home inspector. The first is pretty simple and easy to understand. You want to keep the house in best possible condition. The second, you want to disclose anything and everything that you know about the house before the home inspector comes in. So when the buyer says, yes, I'd like to make an offer on this property, you want to give them the information that you have compiled on the condition of the home. This way, when the home inspector comes in and starts saying what's wrong with the house, the buyer has no other option but to admit that they already are aware of those options or those items. So that is number 3. And number 4, it is just as important as anything else that I've talked about previously, and that is to sell your home to an appraiser. Unless you have a cash buyer, and cash is king. So if you have a buyer with a cash offer, make sure that there's no contingency of an appraisal going through. That is one of the reasons why sellers accept offers from cash buyers, even if they're not the highest price. So when you're dealing with a buyer who has to go to the bank and get financing, it is important that we can sell your home to the appraiser. How do we do that? Just like an appraiser, you need to take into account your competition. See what other homes are competing for the buyer and see what those properties have sold for. You want to make sure that your asking price or agreed upon price is within the parameters of those competing homes. Notice that I'm not saying comparative homes. Every home is different, every home is unique. So we're not looking at comparing one property to the next. Houses, even in the same development, even condominiums, they're different. Some are on one side of the building, some are end units, and every house has different items to attract the buyer and be different. So you have a lot of unique homes that don't necessarily have comparable, but they do have competition. So it could be just properties in that size in that town or properties on the water or whatever that might be. You do have competition when you're looking to sell your property. So you want to know what your competition looks like and what price point it is in. Therefore, you can gauge what price you can justify to an appraiser. So I do a lot of research when it comes to the value of your home. And if you'd like me to take a look at your property and give you an idea of what your home could potentially sell for, please reach out to me. My name again is Jane Becker, and my phone number is 508-922-9832. I own Home Team AdvantEdge, and we are a consulting real estate company. Thank you so much for viewing this video.